take this gun or any gun like it and blow your son's brains out on June 7th or any day or any time?
No, I did not.
Did you shoot a .300 blackout into her head, causing her death?
Mr. Griffin, I didn't shoot my wife or my son anytime. Ever.
Alec Murdaugh proclaiming his innocence, and after more than 20 months, admitting he lied about one key piece of evidence against him.
Mr. Murdaugh, is that you on the kennel video at 8:44 p.m. on June 7th, the night Maggie and Paul were murdered?
It is.
Over and over, Murdaugh had told investigators he hadn't seen his family since dinner and was not at the dog kennels around the time of the murders. But that video, extracted from his son's phone, was recorded minutes before prosecutors believe the killings occurred. And many witnesses have testified it was Alec Murdaugh's voice on the recording. Murdaugh told the jury he had left the kennels and driven his golf cart to the main house on the property.
There's no way that I had high-velocity blood spatter on me.
Just to be clear, were you anywhere in the vicinity when Paul and Maggie were shot?
I was nowhere near Paul and Maggie when they got shot.
Regarding the state's GPS data that shows Murdaugh paused briefly in the driveway at his mother's house the night of the murders, he told the jury he was simply trying to locate his phone.
Were you, during that minute or however long it was, were you disposing of murder weapons, Alec?
No.
Were you disposing of bloody clothes?
No.
Another key moment, Murdaugh explaining to the jury why evidence shows him wearing different clothes before and after the murders.
Yeah, I mean, I sweated. I was heavy, and taking prescription pills also makes you sweat worse, or at least taking oxycodone makes you sweat more than you normally do.
So was it unusual for you to take a shower when you got back to the house?
Not at all.
On cross-examination, the prosecution pushed back.
You agree that the most important part of your testimony here today is explaining your lie for a year and a half that you were never down at those kennels at 8:44. Would you agree with that?
I think all of my testimony is important, Mr. Waters.
The state's goal at the end of the day, of course, was to set Alec Murdaugh up as a liar, to show the jury that he can't be trusted. And Wolf, that's why the prosecution on cross-examination right away went to those alleged financial crimes, basically to send the message to the jury that, look, if he can allegedly lie to all of these people, all these victims, he could look you in the eye as the jury and lie to you as well. Wolf?
He also admitted to stealing a lot of money. Randy Kay reporting for us. Thank you very, very much. Let's break down today's explosive testimony with our legal experts. Joining us now, attorney and legal affairs commentator Areva Martin, as well as defense attorney and former federal prosecutor Shan Wu. Areva, what stands out to you from the cross-examination so far and those very tense exchanges between Alex Murdaugh and the prosecutor?
I think it goes to that issue of the lie. I mean, that's what I believe motivated this defendant to take the witness stand. There was going to be this lingering question for the jurors as to why is it that 10 witnesses came forward and said that they could identify Alex Murdaugh's voice on this videotape, but yet he continued to tell the police that he wasn't at the kennel just minutes before the prosecution says his wife and son were killed. So I think that exchange, everybody was waiting to see what the prosecution would do with that piece of evidence. And we saw what I think we expected. The prosecution went in hard on Alec Murdaugh about telling that lie, not once, not twice, but continuing to tell that lie throughout the entire time period, really until he took the witness stand today to try to give us an explanation for why he lied.
And Shan, Murdaugh also admitted he lied. He admitted he was at the scene just before the murders. How big of a gamble is this testimony? Is it a mistake that his attorneys allowed him to go ahead and testify?
Well, it's a strategic call. I mean, as I'm sure Areva knows, it's a very difficult choice, and you don't want to put a client on the stand because they're really at a great disadvantage there. This signals to us that they were concerned that that audio evidence is so overwhelmingly incriminatory that they had no choice but to put him on the stand, which causes a whole ripple effect. To put him on the stand, he's got to deal with the fact that he lied about it. He's got to deal with the fact that there's financial lies he committed. He defrauded clients. So it kind of opens up this whole cascade of stuff he has to admit to, and they're trying to turn that into, well, he's admitting all these other terrible things, he's an honest guy, but he didn't do this one terrible thing. That's a tough road for him, and I don't think, as a lawyer at least, I didn't think he did a very convincing job today, but you never know with a jury, it only takes one.
Important indeed. Areva, is the defense strategy to portray Murdaugh as supposedly sympathetic, a sympathetic figure, is that strategy working?
Well, I think parts of it did work, Wolf, but parts of it were not compelling. He cried a lot on the witness stand. He was teary at times when you expect him to be. He used the nicknames that he had for his wife and his son to show that they were very close, and you know how he used these terms of endearment to describe them. I agree that there was a huge gap in the defense's case because of that video, but I still think the prosecution has a problem too, Wolf. They have no gun, they have no murder weapon, they don't have an eyewitness, so all of their evidence is circumstantial, and they want the jurors, or they need the jurors to believe that a man that was that close to his wife and his son would blow his son's brains out simply to distract from his financial problems. Now, clearly the man is a liar, he's a thief, so far, based on all the evidence that's been presented. But that's a big leap from I lie and I steal money to I kill a wife and I kill a son who clearly, from all evidence, he was very close to. So I think of their parents on that jury. I'm a parent. You're still going to be scratching your head saying, I don't know. I may not like this guy. I may not think he's the most honorable person, but I don't know if he had it in him to blow his son's brains out.
Yeah, you know, Murdaugh also testified, Shan, about how his opioid addiction began. What effect do you think that will have?
Well, they're trying to use it for a very positive effect to show that he had a problem, he was sympathetic for trying to wrestle with it, and that may have made him paranoid and caused him to, distrust the police who was telling them this lie about not being there. A little bit of a double-edged sword, though, and the prosecution doesn't even have to raise this point, but if he was that addled by the addiction, he might have been acting very irrationally at the time, and the jury might believe that this very opioid-addicted person went off into this paranoid frenzy and did slaughter his own family. So it's a double-edged sword, but again, it's something they have to put out there in making this really difficult choice to have him take the stand and expose him to the cross-examination.